Welcome, Valpo fans, to this week's edition of Valpo Basketball Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. I'm Aaron Levitt. Joining me today, the head coach of the Valpo women's basketball program, Mary Evans. Coach Evans, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Busy week last week for your team. You had a win over Goshen before Thanksgiving, then quite a trek out east to eastern Pennsylvania for the Christmas City Classic in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where you split two games, a win on Saturday over North Dakota before a loss to the host Lehigh on Sunday afternoon. And just kind of what were your takeaways from the games over the weekend, both on the positive side and the negative side?
Yeah, I mean, I think the positive was I thought we played probably the most consistent 40 minutes that we've played all season against North Dakota, sticking to our offensive and defensive game plans. There were mistakes, but I thought the team did a nice job putting them in the rearview mirror and looking forward and playing the next possession, which was something we had talked about prior to that game. So I thought those were some real positives. I thought we got contributions from everybody in that game that came in, gave positive minutes. Strong play from Macy Rhodes defensively and offensively. I thought Fiona came in and gave really good defensive minutes, ran the team, and Kayla, top to bottom, everyone that came in gave great minutes. And then, it was an opportunity to have a quick turnaround. And that's something that we only are going to see again when we go to the conference tournament. But you play a game and then you've got to very quickly prep for a game the next day, within a 24-hour time period. And Lehigh is a tough team to do in a quick prep like that. We spent a little bit of time earlier in the week on the game plan, which it was very beneficial for us. That game was great for us in a perspective of it was a 5-out motion with a lot of cutting and moving on the backside, and was familiar and similar to a couple teams in our league. But it's a tough prep, and it's a prep that normally we have 2 or 3 days for when we face it in league. And we had one day and then basically a film session and a walkthrough to try to be able to play them. And I thought there were some really good things during the course of that game when we followed the prep, but at times our communication broke down and we gave them some easy looks. I thought we competed really hard in that first half, and then just kind of had some scoring struggles there in the second half. But defensively, I thought North Dakota was one of our best games of the year. And then I thought, at times we had segments and periods in the Lehigh game where we defended really well. And that's something we've been hammering with this team is, we're going to be as good as our defense gets. And we're talking a lot to them about really taking it serious and improving. And we saw some strides forward this weekend, which was exciting to see.
It was a big weekend for Leah Ernest, getting named to the all tournament team. Kind of easy to take her for granted, but you look at the numbers, she's now up to ninth in program history in scoring, sixth all time at Valpo in rebounding. Just kind of touch on her play from last weekend and where you think she's taken the biggest strides in her game from last year to this year.
Yeah, I think she lets the game come to her. I think that's probably the biggest stride she's taken from last year to this year. I thought in the North Dakota game, she looked to be a real facilitator, and she had some other players on our team that were really doing well, and she was looking to assist and find them. She had a really great pass to Layla when they went 2-3 zone. She had some good passes out into the perimeter to Katie and to Nevaeh. So she is really trying to really be that triple threat, which is something we talked about with her a lot this summer, right? Not just a scorer, not just a rebounder, but someone who can create for us. And we challenge her to kind of raise those assist numbers. And I think you're seeing that this year. And then the next second game in the tournament, they're really keen on Nevaeh, and they're long and they're lanky. And she took advantage of her matchup and got much more aggressive and started going to the basket and attacking when her team needed her, when maybe we weren't shooting the ball as well from the perimeter, and she was able to get in, had a huge first half for us. And like I said, they started keying a little bit more in her second half, and she had a little bit more of a struggle. But I mean, 29 points in a game is fantastic. And she's had a great career here, and I foresee the end of her career being just as good.
We normally focus on the athletes here, but going off an exchange on X yesterday, I want to give you a chance to talk about your staff. Obviously, Dominique Miller, Kaylin Speedy have both been with you for a number of years, but two new assistant coaches this year in John Hill and Andrew Witt. And just being around, it just feels like they've brought a new, different energy to the program. Just what does your staff mean to you, and how do they help make your program better?
They're awesome. I mean, obviously, Kaylin has been with me since my first year here as a graduate assistant. Stepped away for a year and has been back. And I mean, she is the brains behind this. I mean, she keeps us organized. She just went on a 6 day road trip with us. I mean, that thing went pretty quick, pretty easy, pretty free of any major issues. And she's fantastic with that. Coach Miller, I've known her since she was 14 years old. I think she's a tremendously hard worker, very smart, understands what we do, and really has gotten a lot more comfortable at sharing the knowledge that she has with our players and really teaching them. And then I've really enjoyed the addition of John and Andrew. Like they bring a ton of energy. Through this process, we've kind of changed some things we do from a scouting perspective and a focus perspective, and we really let them focus on defense. And part of defense is bringing energy and making it fun, and they bring that in practice. They are on our kids constantly about getting better at that, and you can see in turn you see an improvement there in that part of the game. And they challenge me. All of my staff challenges me to think differently and to come up with new ideas, and it's just fun, and they're great people. Like they're just great people. I think, I had a boss tell me about 10 years ago, when he looked at hiring, the most important thing is to make sure you enjoy who you hire and you like being around them, because you're going to be together for a long, long time and for hours upon hours, like a 6 day road trip, right? And if you don't enjoy being around people, that 6 days is very long. And I tell you, I had a blast. My staff is awesome. The team is fun to be around. They have high energy, and it's not easy when you ask kids and staff members to be away from their families during the holiday times. But I thought we all handled it really well, and we tried to do some special things for everybody. And I'm just blessed to have not only a great staff but a great team.
Well, this team is in action on Wednesday against Western Michigan. Then you've got 2 weeks until your next game, something you've done for a number of years. You're obviously always going to have that break for finals exams, but you always seems like try to build in time before and after too, kind of a buffer on both sides of finals. Why is it important for you to give your team kind of that reset period around the finals time after the bulk of non-conference play is done?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things in that. I think the time prior to finals is important for this team because, we go out and we recruit because we want to recruit student athletes, and our kids are very cognizant of their grades, and it's a very stressful time of the year when you're focusing on finals and finishing up your classes. And so, we can have some practices. They don't have to be quite as intense, and allow them to be able to really turn their focus to their academics and make sure that they finish with the grades that they want. And again, coming out of that, letting them kind of get out of that academic mode and reintroduce basketball to them. And it gives us a chance as a staff to evaluate where we are through the first set of games, to look at rotations, who plays well together, to look at areas that we need to get better at, and to take that time to really focus on us and let us get better at the things that we think we're deficient in before we get into conference play. And, I say it time after time, but the non-conference is put together to prepare us for the Missouri Valley Conference. And we have to evaluate the games we played, what from them are going to help us get better. What do we need to learn from them to be able to improve and to win games in the Valley? And that's what our staff will do over the next course of those 13 days to try to help that we can improve enough to go out and compete here as we start Valley play.
One game before finals, Western Michigan here at the Arc Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. If you can't make it out to the Arc, you can catch it on ESPN Plus. Coach Evans, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
This has been Valpo Basketball Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.